Okay, so padding and margin. These both could sometimes be used to achieve the same result depending on what you're doing, but it's important to understand the difference between what padding and margin is. So I have on here already by default, the body margin is I'm pushing it to 0. So usually the body would have some orange highlights around it because most browsers give the body some default margin. I just removed it. So now you can see this is pressed up right to the side, and it's not being pressed to the top because, well, let's see why. Let's see if I highlight this. You see the top and bottom is orange. That's the default top and bottom margins that H1 elements get. All H1 elements get some default margins. So I could select the H1 and give it margin 0. It gets pushed right to the top. Okay, what if I wanted to... So the margin has 4 different sides to it. There's a top margin, a bottom margin, a left margin, and a right margin. So you could target them all separately like this. Margin top, margin bottom, stuff like that. I'm not going to get too in-depth with that. You'll see me do it sometimes. It's really simple. When you see margin top, it's just adding margin top. So I could say 22 pixels. So right here you could see if I select it though, okay, there's a reason why there's still margin on the bottom. It's because the default margin isn't being overwritten. I'm just saying, take this H1 and give it margin top of 22. But if I didn't do this, the margin top and margin bottom is already has a certain default. So if you wanted to remove that, you just say, make the margin have 0 and then make the margin, so this, when you say margin 0, it's shorthand for saying make all sides of the margin be 0. So margin 0 and then the bottom 0. After you run this, the margin bottom is 0. So when you run this, it's just setting the top to 0. So if you go and inspect this now, it looks the same thing, but when you hover over it, you could see that there's no margin on the bottom anymore. It's just the top. Okay, let's see what happens if you change this to padding. Nothing happens. So you see that, but now it's not orange on top. It's sort of green, and that is the difference between padding and margin. Is margin, if I could sum it up in one sentence, is it stops elements from getting that close to that element. So if you have margin, if you have an H1 and the margin top is set to 20 pixels, no other elements will get more than 20 pixels closer to an element. To that element, but it will be able to get things close to it on the bottom if the bottom has no margin. I'll show you a bit of an example here. I'll say H2 and I will give this margin 0. So I'm going to put an H2 here. Hello CSS. And here. Hello CSS. So it's going to keep its distance on top, but not on bottom. And if you highlight it again, you could see that this is taking up extra space, but this isn't margin. So right now, this is essentially doing the exact same thing as if I put the margin top. Like if I switch these out, it looks the exact same thing. But when I highlight it, you could see that this is margin now. It's not padding anymore. So at the beginning of this video, I explained that sometimes you could use padding and margin to do the same things, and this would be one of those cases where if you just wanted, like, let's say this is a blog title. I'm just going to remove this. Date. You know, I'll just give it like some sort of 12/09/08/2018. So just do something like that. It's a little bit too big, but you get what I mean. So you'd have the blog title, and the blog title wouldn't allow anything to get close to it, but on the bottom you would. May not be the best example, but here's a little trick you could do. If you wanted to quickly switch this around, you could hold down Control, and when you hold down Control, like if you wanted to change the ending here, if you click it, I'm not holding down Control, so you click this, and you want to change it to an H5, let's say 5. You have to go like this. It's kind of annoying. You have to do it twice. But if you hold down, if you select the end here and then you hold down Control, you select the end here, you actually have two selections, so you could go like switch it in one shot. So, okay, you see why that's happening now. It's because I'm selecting the H2, not the H5. So something like that. So that's a pretty cool little thing. Now I just want to show you, I'm going to remove, actually no, I'll just go back up here and H2, I'll say hello CSS again. And here I will comma separate and just target the H5 and the H2 margin to be 0. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the difference between margin and padding, what the exact difference is. So you know right now, if I were to change this margin to padding, you're not going to see a difference. Right? You're not going to see a difference. You know that. But there is instances where you will see a difference. An instance like this. Let's take the H1, let's give it a background color. If I can. Line will be good. Okay, so let's select it again. So you see that it's stopping things from getting that close to it. Padding doesn't stop things from getting close to it, but it does make the element bigger. So let's add some padding to the top here. And you can see what the difference is. So everything stays in the same spot. But this, you could see that it just got a little bit bigger.